It was a quiet evening in Neo Los Angeles, year 2149. People were still recovering from the great alien attacks 2 months ago. Many shops were closed, but one small diner stayed open, Galaxy Grill. Inside, a kind black waitress named Lena moved table to table, serving food and cleaning quietly. She wore an old apron and had tired eyes, but her smile never faded. Everyone in the area knew her. She had stayed in the diner during the war and fed hungry survivors when no one else did. But today, something was different. A luxury hovercar landed outside. The door opened, and a tall man in a gold jacket stepped in. His name was Mr. Vaughn, a rich tech executive. Everyone knew he was rude and full of pride. He walked to a table and clapped his hands. "Waitress, I don't have all day," he shouted. Lena turned politely and came over. "Good evening, sir. What would you like?" she asked. Mr. Vaughn didn't answer. He just looked her up and down and laughed. "They let people like you work here," he said loudly. "What is this, a soup kitchen?" Some customers looked up, uncomfortable. A mother covered her child's ears. Lena remained calm. "Would you like to order now?" she asked again gently. Mr. Vaughn suddenly knocked the glass off the table. "Oops," he said with a smirk. "Clean that up. You're good at that, aren't you?" She bent down silently, wiping the mess. Someone at the corner booth pulled out a small wrist recorder and started filming. But Lena said nothing. She just glanced at the wall. There was an old photo of her shaking hands with Vin Diesel. She sighed and stood up. Mr. Vaughn wasn't done. He poured a full drink on the table and pushed the glass toward her. "You missed a spot," he said cruelly. "People like you should be lucky just to serve me." Suddenly, the kitchen door creaked open. Heavy footsteps echoed. The air grew still. A tall man in a dark jacket stepped out of the shadows. His face was strong, his voice deep. "That's enough." It was Vin Diesel. Gasps filled the diner. Vin walked calmly to the center. He looked at Lena, then at Mr. Vaughn. "You like treating people badly in public?" Vin asked. Mr. Vaughn tried to laugh. "Hey, I didn't know you were here, man. I'm a fan. This is just a joke. Light fun." Vin didn't smile. "Fun?" he asked coldly. "Let me tell you who she is." The room fell silent. "When this city was falling," Vin said, "and aliens destroyed our power grid, this place was one of the only lights still on. Lena kept it running. She fed soldiers, nurses, kids, including me. I came here, bleeding and tired, and she gave me food. No cameras, no payment, just heart." Mr. Vaughn looked nervous now. "That was a long time ago," he muttered. Vine stepped closer. "And today you walk in here, disrespect her, and act like you own the world." Mr. Vaughn stood up. "I do own half the tech in this city." Vin pulled out a small silver badge. "And I own this place." The crowd gasped again. "This isn't just a diner," Vin said. "It's a symbol, and she is the reason it still stands." 2 security officers walked in from outside. "Escort this man out. He's not welcome here." Mr. Vaughn tried to resist, but the officers took him gently by the arms. As he passed Lena, he looked down in shame. The door shut behind him. Silence remained for a moment. Then soft clapping started. The mother with the child clapped first. Then the young man with the recorder. Then the whole room. Vin turned to Lena. "You never asked for credit. But today, the world will know." He handed her a card. "You're now co-owner of Galaxy Grill. You deserve it." Lena blinked in shock. She tried to speak, but words wouldn't come. Vin just smiled. "Keep shining, Lena." As he walked away, the boy uploaded the video to the net. The title read, "Waitress Shamed by Rich Man. Watch what happens when Vin Diesel walks in." By morning, it had 48 million views. And Lena? She stood at the counter, with her head high. No longer just a waitress, but a hero remembered. Lena stood behind the counter, wiping the edge of a glass with slow, steady hands. But her mind was not calm. The words of Mr. Vaughn still echoed in her ears. She had been insulted before, but never like that. She looked around the diner. Most people had returned to their food, pretending nothing had happened. Only a young boy sitting near the back still stared at her with wide, quiet eyes. He had recorded the whole thing. He looked scared, like he didn't know if he had done something wrong. Lena gave him a small nod, a silent thank you. But the peace did not last. The kitchen door swung open again. It wasn't Vin Diesel this time. It was the manager, a man named Curtis. He was tall, skinny, and always nervous around powerful people. "Lena," he whispered, pulling her aside. "Why is Mr. Vaughn upset? He says you embarrassed him." She blinked, shocked. "He embarrassed me. He poured drinks, called me names. I said nothing." Curtis shook his head quickly. "We can't afford to lose his business. He's rich. He's connected." "So what do you want me to do?" she asked quietly. "Apologize," he said. "Just say sorry and bring him a free dessert." Her hands tightened around the glass in her hand, but she said nothing. Back at the table, Mr. Vaughn leaned back in his seat like a king. His legs were on the table now. He grinned when he saw Curtis return. "Ah, good. Is she ready to beg yet?" Curtis gave a nervous laugh and turned to Lena. She didn't move. "I'll bring the dessert," she said coldly. "But I'm not apologizing for being disrespected." The room grew tense again. People started whispering. Some took out their recorders. Even the cooks peeked out from the kitchen. Lena placed a slice of cake on the table without a word. Mr. Vaughn smirked. "No smile. No thank you? Still playing victim, are we?" He picked up the cake and, before anyone could stop him, smashed it onto the floor. "Oops," he laughed. "Clumsy hands." Lena stared down at the mess. Her hands shook, but her face was still calm. She didn't cry. She didn't yell. She just looked up and said softly, "You should leave." The whole diner went silent. Even the machine stopped humming for a second. Mr. Vaughn laughed, but his voice was louder than before, forced. "Or what? You'll call the waiter army?" He stood up, towering over her. "You are nothing. A server. A background face. Do you know who I am? I could buy this place." At that moment, the door chimed again. But this time, it wasn't loud. It was deep, slow, powerful. Footsteps. Heavy boots. Everyone turned, and there he was, Vin Diesel, walking straight into the room, black coat moving with each step like a shadow. He didn't speak right away. He just looked. At the cake on the floor. At Lena's shaking hands. At Mr. Vaughn's smug face. Then quietly, "That's funny," Vin said. "Because I already did." Mr. Vaughn blinked. "Did what?" Vine looked him straight in the eyes. "Bought this place 3 years ago, after the alien raids." He turned to Lena. "She kept it running when no one else did. She fed fighters, risked her life. And when I came here with a broken arm and blood on my shirt, she made me a sandwich and didn't even charge me." Mr. Vaughn laughed again, but now his voice was shaky. "Look, I didn't know. I didn't mean any harm. Just a misunderstanding." Vin raised an eyebrow. "Pouring drinks on her? Breaking glasses? Calling her names?" He stepped forward. "You didn't make a mistake. You showed your true face." The crowd in the diner was silent, frozen. Even Curtis stood in a corner, pale. Vine looked back at Lena. "You want him gone?" She nodded once. Vine looked at the young boy who had filmed everything. "Still got that recording?" The boy nodded fast. "Send it to me," Vin said, "and post it. The world needs to see this." 2 uniformed guards entered moments later. Without a word, they stood behind Mr. Vaughn. "You can walk out on your own," Vin said, "or be carried out." Mr. Vaughn looked around, but no one helped him. Not Curtis, not the staff, not the rich customers. He swallowed hard and walked out in silence. The door closed behind him, and peace returned. But this time, something had changed. Lena was no longer just a waitress. She was someone the world had finally seen. The diner was quiet after Mr. Vaughn left. Too quiet. Lena stood near the table, still holding the empty tray. Her hands were steady now, but her heart still racing. Vin Diesel looked at her with calm eyes. You handled it well, he said softly. She gave a tired smile. Not happy, just thankful. But even peace doesn't last long in places like this. By the next morning, the video had gone viral. The young boy's footage showed everything. Mr. Vaughn's cruel words, the smashed cake, and Vin Diesel's quiet but powerful entrance. Millions of people had already watched it. Hashtag Justice for Lena, hashtag Vin steps in, hashtag Waitress hero. Those were the top trends. But with the fame came something else. Threats. Lena's inbox was flooded. Most messages were kind, but others were hateful. You should have stayed silent. You embarrassed an important man. We know where you work. Even the diner got calls. Threats from Vaughn's people. He might have been thrown out, but he still had money and connections. Vine met her outside the diner the next day. He arrived in a black vehicle with no license plate, government style. His face looked serious now, not like yesterday. Today he was ready for war. They're pushing back, he told her. Vaughn has friends in high places. Some of them aren't human. Lena blinked. What do you mean? Vine looked around to make sure no one was listening. You remember the raid last year? The hybrid soldiers who attacked the sector. She nodded slowly. He funded them, Vin said. He was testing human loyalty. You standing up to him exposed more than his ego. It exposed a secret. Lena looked confused. So what now? Vin gave her a small smile. Now we protect you. And use this moment. You're more than a waitress now. You're a symbol. Inside the diner, the staff was gathered. Curtis was pacing. This is getting dangerous, he whispered. We should close. Vine stepped in. No, we do the opposite. We stay open. We show we're not afraid. Curtis scoffed. Easy for you to say. You're a celebrity. We're just workers. Lena stepped forward. No, we're people, and we have each other. Vine nodded. Exactly. He placed a small device on the front counter. Security drone, he said. Military grade, it'll keep you safe. But the danger wasn't only outside. That night, while the diner was still open, a strange man walked in. Tall, long coat, he didn't order food, just sat at the counter and watched. Lena tried to ignore him, but something about his eyes felt wrong. Need help? She asked, forcing a smile. The man smiled back, but it wasn't friendly. No, just waiting. Waiting for who? He leaned closer. Vin Diesel. Lena's heart skipped. She backed away slowly and tapped the panic button under the counter. But the man chuckled. He won't come. Not in time. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The windows trembled. And outside, dark shapes were moving in the alley. Not men. Creatures. Vin's voice came over Lena's earpiece. Lena, stay calm. They're testing us. But they don't know. We're ready. Outside, Vine stepped out of his car, holding a strange metal rod that shimmered with energy. Let's end this, he whispered. The creatures rushed at him. But Vin didn't move. With one strike of his rod, the street flashed. A sound like thunder cracked through the air. The creatures dropped, twitching. Not dead, but stunned. Inside, the tall man at the counter stood up quickly. You made your move, he said. Now Vaughn will make his. Then he ran. But before he reached the door, Vin was already there, blocking his path. You forgot something, Vin said. He threw the smashed cake onto the man's chest. Respect. You left it on the floor yesterday. The man was taken away. The creatures vanished into smoke. And the world? The world now saw what was really happening. This wasn't just a story about a rude man and a waitress. This was a war between silence and truth. And Lena had chosen truth. The next morning, Lena didn't go to the diner. She stayed home. Not because she was afraid, but because Vin told her to wait. Something was coming. And he wanted her out of sight, for now. In a hidden room below the city, Vine stood with a group of people. They weren't police, not soldiers either. There was something in between. Ghost agents. Men and women trained to protect Earth, not just from threats on Earth, but from outside it. Vin was one of them. So was Lena's late mother. Yes, Vin hadn't told her yet. But he knew Lena deserved the truth. One agent spoke. Vaughn's creatures weren't just testing her, they were scanning her. Another nodded. Looking for something. Maybe a code, maybe a memory. Vine stayed quiet, arms crossed. They think she knows something, he said at last. Something her mother left behind. Back at Lena's apartment, her lights flickered again. She froze. Was it the power? Or something else? She slowly walked to the kitchen. Suddenly, a voice whispered from her tablet. It wasn't anyone she knew. You don't know who you are, but we do. She grabbed the tablet. The screen glitched. Symbols she didn't recognize flashed fast. Alien symbols. Then, one word appeared clearly. Key. Her hands shook. She placed the tablet down. Just then, her door buzzed. It was Vine. He walked in fast, eyes scanning the room. Did anything strange happen? He asked. She nodded. A message. On my screen. It said key. Vin's face changed. It wasn't fear, but urgency. Then it's real. It wasn't just a theory. Lena stared at him. What is? Vine looked her in the eye. Your mother left you something. She worked with us, with the ghost agents. She hid something inside you. Something only you can unlock. Lena stepped back. No, she was a teacher. She wasn't in any secret group. Vine interrupted. She was both. She hid her work from everyone to keep you safe. Lena sat down, overwhelmed. What does Vaughn want? Vine knelt beside her. He wants control. There's a signal, deep in space. Your mother found it. It's calling something here, something powerful. If he gets that signal first, he can control it. And if I unlock it first? Lena asked. Vine stood. Then we stop him. Forever. Outside, 3 black hover cars moved through the city without sound. Vaughn sat inside the middle one, looking at a screen. Lena's face glowed on it. So, she really is the daughter, he whispered. No matter, we'll take her tonight. He pressed a button. Send the harvesters. That evening, Ven took Lena to a hidden base beneath the old subway lines. It was cold, dark, but protected. You need to try to unlock the code, Vin said. How? Meditation. Memory. There's a device. It connects to the brain. Lena lay down on the chair. Vin placed a glowing band across her head. Lights flickered, and her mind drifted. She saw her mother, sitting at a table, drawing circles. Symbols. Lena, the memory mother whispered, if you're seeing this, it means the danger has returned, and you must be the one to stop it. But I'm not like you, Lena whispered back. You're more, the image said with a smile. Suddenly, the scene broke apart. Red light. Screams. The vision shattered. Lena gasped and sat up. Did you get anything? Vin asked. She nodded, shaking. She left something in a vault, under a place called Sector 9. Vin's eyes widened. Then we need to go. Now. But it was too late. The base shook. Dust rained down. They found us, Vin said. He ran to the door and slammed his hand on the lockpad. Lights turned red. Backup protocol activated, said the base AI. Lena, he turned to her. You have to run. No, I'm not leaving you. You're the mission now. If they take you, it's over. He pulled out a black card and shoved it into her hand. Take the tunnels. This will guide you. She looked at him one last time, then ran. The door closed behind her with a slam, and Vin turned to face the shadows coming through the broken wall. Lena ran through the cold, dark tunnel. Her feet splashed in water, her hands shook. She could still hear the crash behind her. Vine was still fighting those things. But he had given her the black card. He trusted her to finish the mission. The tunnel twisted. Pipes lined the walls. Her heart beat fast. Then, a voice echoed from the dark. You can't run forever, girl. She stopped, slowly turned. A shadow stood at the far end. Tall, thin, not human. A harvester. Its eyes glowed blue. Its steps made no sound. Lena ran again, faster this time. She pulled out the black card. It lit up, glowing green. A tiny arrow pointed left. She followed. The tunnel ended at a rusted door. The card flashed red. Locked, she whispered. She touched the wall. Nothing. But then, she remembered her mother's words in the vision. Your hands will know. She closed her eyes and placed her palm on the steel. Click. The door opened. Inside, it looked like an old storage room. Boxes, dust, metal stairs. But the card flashed again. Downstairs, she ran. At the bottom was a thick wall. On it, a glowing panel. The card slid into it like it was made for it. Suddenly, the whole wall split open. Behind it, a chamber full of lights. Floating lights. Machines shaped like stars. In the center, a silver orb, humming softly. As Lena stepped closer, the orb spoke. Access confirmed. Bloodline matched. What are you? She asked. I am the Vault of Unity. I hold the last key to the signal. Lena blinked. Why me? Because your mother chose you. You are the last gatekeeper. The orb floated to her. But first, you must see what's coming. Suddenly, her mind was filled with visions. A black sky, ships falling to earth, creatures crawling through cities, and one man, Vaughn, standing on a throne of broken machines. She stumbled back. No, I can't do this. I'm not ready. You are, the orb said calmly. You carry the last code. Without it, Vaughn cannot control the signal. But how do I stop him? You must awaken the beacon. Only then will your power rise. Boom! The wall behind her cracked. The harvester had found her. Its hands stretched forward, metal fingers like knives. Lena grabbed the orb. It flashed bright blue. Location beacon set. Final rise tower. The orb shrank into a small sphere and slid into her palm. She ran through the back exit as the harvester screamed behind her. Outside, Sector 9 looked like a ruined city. Old tech towers, rusted signs, faded lights. But far in the distance, one building still stood tall, sharp, clean, and silver. The final rise tower. The place her mother had marked in her memory. Lena stepped onto a train pad. The orb clicked into it. Blue lines lit up, and the floor began to move, fast. As she flew across the city on the rail path, her mind raced. Vin, I hope you're still alive. Meanwhile, deep below the city, Vine stood in chains, blood on his face. Vaughn walked in, smiling coldly. She ran. Vaughn said, but not far. You'll never catch her, Vin spat. I don't need to. She'll come to me. The moment she activates the beacon, I'll trace it. He leaned closer. And when I do, I'll take what's mine. Vine smiled weakly. You really don't understand her, do you? She's not like the others. She's stronger. Above, Lena's train reached the tower gate. It was silent, too silent. The doors opened. She stepped out. Wind blew through the cracks. A glowing sign blinked. Final rise tower. No into your eye. She took a deep breath and stepped inside. Lena walked into the dark tower. Each step echoed. The halls were full of shadows. All machines buzzed low. The orb in her hand grew warm. Almost there, she whispered. Ahead, a door lit up with a blue circle. She pressed the orb into the center. It clicked. The door opened with a deep hum. Inside was a glowing platform, floating above the ground. In the middle, the beacon, a tall pillar of light, reaching up through the tower's ceiling. The orb rose from her hand, floating into the air. Are you ready? It asked. Lena closed her eyes. She remembered the rude man in the diner, her old life, her mother's voice, and Vin's eyes as he stayed behind to protect her. She nodded. I'm ready. Light burst from the orb, shooting into the beacon. The tower shook. Energy flowed through the building. Old lights came to life. Walls turned transparent, showing the sky. The beacon pulsed blue. A signal shot into the stars. Signal sent, said the orb. All allies have been called. Lena felt power surge through her veins. Her hands glowed. Her heart raced. But behind her, the elevator door crashed open. Vaughn stepped out. His eyes were dark. His smile was cold. You did it, he said. Too bad it's not yours to keep. Lena turned, standing tall. You'll never touch it. Oh, I won't, he said with a laugh. But they will. Suddenly, a dozen harvesters dropped from the ceiling. Their arms were sharp. Their eyes flashed red. Lena backed up. But then, the air behind her shimmered. Boom! A wall exploded inward. Vin Diesel burst through in a battle suit. One eye blackened, one arm sparking. But he was still standing. Told you I wasn't done. He fired at the harvesters with a shock blaster. Get to the beacon, Lena. Touch it now. Lena nodded. She ran toward the beam of light. Vaughn roared and rushed to stop her. But Vin tackled him midair. They crashed to the floor, fighting hard. Lena stepped into the light. The orb returned to her palm. Final code accepted. Bloodline confirmed. Do you accept full control? She nodded. Yes, I accept. The beacon pulsed bright gold. Her eyes turned white with light. She rose into the air, and the entire tower began to shake. All across the city, screens lit up. The sky flashed. Other towers came online. The entire planet felt the change. And deep in the stars, ships began to move. Allies long asleep were waking up. The resistance was coming. Back in the tower, Vaughn screamed as the beacon's light hit him. No, I was supposed to win. Vine stood beside Lena as she floated down. Guess you messed with the wrong waitress, he said. Lena smiled. I'm not just a waitress anymore. She raised her hand. The harvesters froze in place. Their lights blinked out. Vaughn fell to his knees. Defeated. The city was silent for a moment. Then the sky split open with light. Dozens of resistance ships flew in. And in the center, a glowing ship carrying Lena's mother's crest. Vine looked up. They heard you. Lena held the orb tight. Now we take back everything. 1 week later, the diner was quiet again. Same seats, same tables. But the mood was different. Lena, now wearing a light suit and badge, walked behind the counter. Vine sat nearby, sipping a coffee. Hard to believe, he said. You were mopping this floor 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Lena smiled. Now I command half the planet's defense. They laughed. Just then, a man walked in. The same rude man from before. He looked shocked when he saw her. You're... Yes, Lena said calmly. I still serve coffee, sometimes. But I also command orbit defense. He tried to speak, but nothing came out. Vine leaned over. Next time, show some respect. The man walked out, red-faced. Lena and Vin looked at each other. Ready for round 2? Vin asked. Always, Lena said. They walked out into the bright light, toward a new future. Together.